So speaking of the future, how do we make sure this space is inclusive, that women and underrepresented groups feel welcome?
Let's create something for them. It's straightforward. It's direct. Let's create something for them. If we see them participating, let's support them. So I'll give you a story, especially as regards women playing these games. In the World Connected series I told you about that we did in 2020, we had an all-female team. Only all-female team that participated in the tournament. Interestingly, we gave them so much support, not any bias, but we supported them, always checking up on them. And the player, Queen Arrow, she's doing a fantastic job across the continent. She's one of the few people who puts out her own content in terms of playing these games. She's got endorsement from brands, and she's got a lot of support for her. So let's create the value of things that they can participate in. That would happen. On the underrepresented side, I will talk about refugees more especially because I've worked with the UNHCR, especially in 2023. I did a lot of work with them as regards, coming up with eSports hubs in different display centers on the continent. And with that, I brought a technology company which pledged to at the Global Refugee Forum in Switzerland in 2023 December, did a pledge at that Global Refugee Forum. More than anything, we're putting in the work to ensure that the underrepresented and the women get a shout and they get a look in the growth of esports on the continent.
But how do you deal with issue around regulation, ethics, fair play in African esport competitions?
From the outside now, government still classifies video games under gaming, which is betting, and that is game of chance, not game of skill. Video games is game of skill. It's your skill that matters there. So that conversation needs to be had, and I believe that with the Olympic Sport Games, like I said, more consciousness, more understanding that this is not the same as the gaming of lotteries, lotto, and casino and betting. So hopefully that will be done. Fair play. I think it's all down to each tournament we ran in the very first week. So it ran for, I think it was 8 weeks. In the very first 2 weeks, we got a complaint about one of the teams using a player. So one of the conditions for the teams that participated is that everybody must be based on the continent. And that's because we don't want you to have the undue advantage of being closer to the server if you're playing from Europe or Dubai or anywhere in the Middle East. But we got a complaint that they had 2 players who were not based on the continent. We investigated, we saw it, and they were expelled from the league. So fair play lies in the hands of whoever is the organizer of whatever tournament that is happening, and you can then take decisions as they should be. You must have codified it before now, and it's important. The other thing I will say, which I'm glad and privileged to have participated in, is the recently released International Safeguarding for Children in Esports. That document was released. The Global Esports Federation was part of that, and I sit in the Education, Culture and Youth Commission where we had a discussion around that, and I put my voice in on that, and the report is out now. So safeguarding is a big issue for the Olympic movement, and definitely in esports we're not missing that out, and it's going to be not just for children, for gamers generally. Safeguarding in esports is important, and I believe all these things you mentioned would come under it.
Do you think Africa can one day host a major international esports, even like the esports World Cup?
Well, esports World Cup, like I said, is a private initiative. Except the Saudis decide to now say, oh, other people can also. At the moment, it's strictly a Saudi initiative. But talking about an international, a major international esports tournament, definitely. Let's not forget, just next year we would see the Youth Olympic Games, come to Dakar, Senegal.
To Dakar.
We know Nigeria is pitching to host the Commonwealth Games in 2030. Yes, trust me, I see it happening even before the next 5-10 years. That a major esports tournament would come to the continent, and lots of people from around the world will converge here, and we'll see it happen. I'm keeping my fingers crossed to see it happen in Nigeria, though.
Yeah, finger crossed. What's the most powerful and emotional moment you have experienced in your journey building the esports in your country or in Africa in general?
Most powerful moment would be in Malawi in 2022. And I think I'll send you that picture. There was a picture of a guy who was watching the match, and that picture still, rings in my head when I want to talk about esports on the continent. The passion of that fan. He was not even the player, but the excitement he had and the excitement of the people around him. That is one powerful moment for me. And what it taught me, what Malawi taught me, was the fact that you can't even underrate any country. I tell you what, we were very conservative when we went to Malawi to create the African eSports Championships for Southern African region. So we do this in partnership with the African Union Sports Council Region 5. We're doing another one in Namibia in July this year. Now, we were like, oh, let's be conservative. It's Malawi. They would not turn up, or they might not turn up. It might not be much people. And we had a very conservative venue that would seat 150 people, right? Would you believe that before we even started, the hall was packed full, and we had to put people outside that they could not come in because of safeguarding and safety of everyone, health concerns for everyone in who are already seated in that place. Now that shows us that if we had an expanded location that could sit 200, 250, maybe 300 and more, we would have filled the hall out and people would have sat down. So those are powerful moments for me that can never leave me, especially because it was our first execution by the Global Esports Federation through the Africa Esports Development Federation on the continent, and we're looking to build on that.